Welcome to the Automotive News. Today we're going to be talking about the massive supercar pullover in Hong Kong, as well as the unveiling of the new Rolls Royce Tempus collection. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Automotive News. I'm your host, Primo. Today we're going to be discussing the big supercar pullover that happened in Hong Kong. I'm actually amazed that this hasn't gone viral yet. We're going to see some pictures from that event. We're also going to look at the new Rolls Royce Tempus and kind of make a decision about what we think about this vehicle and how we see it moving forward into the future. First, I want to introduce everybody to the new studio. I want to thank you for tuning in. We're going to be showing you more from this area. If you've seen the new logo, we want to hear your input on it, see what you think about the new setup here. It's going to be awesome to move forward, and we're going to be happy to have you along. So first is going to be the Hong Kong pullover and supercars. Apparently there was a road in Hong Kong that had a speed limit of around 70 kilometers per hour, which is around 40 miles per hour. The drivers that were normally driving this early morning hours, unfortunately, were being reported as not having obeyed that speed limit, which is pretty much a given at 40 miles per hour with a supercar. But the complaints moved forward, and the police decided to do a roadblock and were able to stop all of the vehicles. This made a pileup of a great deal of supercars, everything from Lamborghini to Porsche to McLaren, that were lined up, at which point passerbys were taking pictures and filming. So the images themselves went out to everybody, and at least in that area it was shared quite a bit. We haven't seen much in our area about it being reported on, so we thought it would be important to share it with you to show what had actually happened. There were no arrests made, but apparently one vehicle had been reported as having illegal modification, so it was towed, as well as 9 other vehicles that were reported to need to come back for inspections later on. So the next thing on our agenda today is the new Rolls Royce Tempus. Now this is quite the vehicle, and what we want to do today is we want to review what their launch video looked like that came from Rolls Royce, kind of go over the details of the vehicle and see what makes it so special. Rolls Royce in and of itself has come up with some great innovations over time and is known as a high-end luxury vehicle. Most people will tell you that the Rolls Royce product is more made or directed towards an older clientele, but after seeing some of the things that Rolls has done and really brought things forward, they've made quite some strides in both the luxury and ultra luxury segment. So they're a brand that really rises to the top when it comes to luxury. So we're going to take a look at this one unique spinoff that they have and kind of address some of the things that we saw and what we expect from this vehicle.
No matter our individual gifts, our talents, our opportunities, we're all given one precious thing: time. And now we've taken it as an inspiration for our new collection. Phantom Tempus represents those whose mission it is to expand horizons and define limits. From a design perspective, we began by looking deep into space and developed this fascination for pulsar stars, and they spin with such regularity that they are widely considered as one of the most accurate natural keepers of time.
The first thing I think we should go over here is the idea of timepieces and the ultra luxury segment. This is something that goes hand in hand together. If you've ever noticed, from both Bentley and Rolls Royce, they have distinctive timepieces associated with them, and it's something that other brands have really tried to capture over time, but it's something that these brands have mastered. So something I really like about this video from the very start is the idea of accentuating grandness, the idea of not just saying stuck in a planet or stuck in a box or being very small. They take this vehicle and instantly take it and make it huge. The idea that it's universal in thinking, and then they take that ideology of time and then express it in this idea of this pulsar star. It's really something that both merges one type of thinking when it comes to this type of luxury in with another type of thinking. And it's really amazing to understand how greatness is in the idea of a vision of a brand or manufacturer. And I think that was really captured at the beginning of this commercial. And it really does take something, it really takes you to the next level of what they plan to do with this vehicle collection.
With Phantom Tempus, we were drawn to the idea of a customer stepping into their own world and closing the door and into this paused moment of calm. Everywhere you look, you're surrounded by these beautiful references to time, how it passes and how it flows and how it seems to stand still. These cars are incredibly rare, only 20 will be made. The Starlight headliner has been completely reimagined. Intricate, bespoke embroidery and mesmerizing fiber optics combine to create something new and unique.
So this is something else that Rolls Royce does exceptionally well. Obviously, the idea of looking externally good is one thing, but the other thing that they really excel at, which is where their masterpiece is the experience within the cabin. And one thing you can see here is that moment in time reference, the idea of getting into the vehicle and having that moment in time that you live within the vehicle. The idea of having an internal vehicle, especially with the star lighting that they have in the sides, and the idea of expressing as they do so vividly the idea of the experience of the driver within the vehicle. It's something that they've really done well. Now let's add in the idea that Rolls-Royce took the Starlight headliner and really made it something special. Other aftermarket areas have tried to take this venue and kind of expound on it, but it's still known, even it's very expensive modification, it's still known as something that is distinct to Rolls-Royce and distinct to being expensive or exquisite. And here they've taken that Starlight field and really taken it to a new level, taking it to a new experience. I mean, just look at the headliner. The idea of being able to drive in this vehicle and experience the drive is something that's so important to it. And they've really grabbed that and really expressed it as a moment in time. I really love where they've gone with this. The other thing is obviously limiting the production numbers of the vehicle. So there's only going to be 20 of these that are built. So it's something that's going to be very bespoke and something that's going to be specific to the buyer. And I think that's huge for anybody who would look at something like a Rolls Royce or any kind of collector car. The only thing that I feel unfortunate about this vehicle is I'm guessing that a bunch of people are going to buy these and they're not going to be really driven at all. They're going to be mostly for collectors, which is the unfortunate thing, because I would love to have access to one of these to even take it for a spin.
Pulsar headliner. The notion of time being frozen inspired the doors. The swirling, twisting pattern of stars is created by hundreds of illuminated perforations flowing through the entire cabin. The gallery is sculpted from a single solid billet of aluminium. The columns are anodized and hand polished so they reflect the light and the shadow, and the whole surface appears to ripple and flex as your eye moves across it.
Now here's something that just goes into quality of craftsmanship and the attention to detail that goes into any sort of vehicle of this caliber. The idea that there are 100 rows specifically and associated with the, I believe, 100 million cycles that a Pulsar star will go through is just exquisite attention. And these are things that both you will see internally, but you also won't really take into account. It's those craftsmanships that are done in a way that even if you don't notice them, they're important to the build of the vehicle. The idea that this piece in and of itself will be driving down the road or some sort of light will hit it and it'll give you that idea of motion through time. It's amazing. The idea that they would sit there and take the time to see each piece coming together and then to take the extra steps that it would be to make that exquisite touch of detail, and the idea of just being in the vehicle in that moment. And that's the wording that they're really trying to go for there, is being in the moment of the vehicle.
That sense of time being what you make of it is central to the Phantom Tempus design concept. The spirit of ecstasy has been engraved with the Phantom Tempus name, and can be personalised with a date, a location, a significant moment in time, chosen by the owner. The collection is finished in a new bespoke paint, Kairos blue, created to embody the darkness and the mystery of space.
Now, one thing that they didn't really express here is the Kairos blue. That wording of itself is all about opportunity and the idea of seizing an opportunity. And that's something that this vehicle really does express very well. The idea that the limited production, the spirit of ecstasy being stamped with something from the owner, really puts you in the perspective of seeking that opportunity. Now, for anybody out there that has any sort of motivational thinking or positive idea of thinking, can really prescribe to this idea of this moment of opportunity, this moment that maybe you've created it, maybe that it's become available to you, but it's something that you became involved in. It's amazing to see that captured in a brand, or have the brand take that ideology and really hammer it home with the vehicle. It really does sit well with this vehicle, and the way it's built, the way it's designed, the way its exterior looks. It's just amazing to see what they've done with this. And the advertising for this is just amazing. The unveiling is something that I don't understand why anybody wouldn't want to view this, or wouldn't want to even take a trip in one just to experience of themselves. Even if they didn't end up in one of these versions, it would be good for them to basically be able to have just a ride in any sort of Phantom, to really feel that quality of ride and see that it's something that is not just for one type of vehicle, but expands throughout their lineup.
All we have is the time that we're given, and it's up to us to make the most of every single moment.
And there you have it, making the most of every single moment. I wish that everybody out there could take something that Rolls-Royce has offered and have an opportunity to both be a part of that thinking, but also be a part of the brand itself. And it's something that a lot of people, again, would say this is a more older experience, if you will, but I think this is more for those who are experienced. It's a timeless ideology. It's something that has been grafted into this brand, and it didn't just start today. It's something that started way back many years ago, back when Rolls-Royce was conceived, and has really followed them throughout their lifetime. The idea of being able to drive or ride in a Rolls-Royce is just an experience, and it's an experience that I think everybody should have an opportunity to do. Unfortunately, the Tempus will be limited to 20 vehicles, so it's something that, you know, not everybody will get a chance to experience themselves. But I hope that those out there that would look forward to buying something in the future would not limit themselves to just vehicles of performance orientation, but would look to something like Rolls-Royce as being something that they can drive, experience. It really does commemorate the experience of the drive itself. One thing I really love about the Rolls-Royce brand, which I think is incredible, is that at no point during this analysis of this vehicle did they ever say how fast the vehicle went, how much horsepower it makes. The idea of the analytics of these vehicles is basically thrown out the window. The idea of the experience is what's more important. And it's no question of whether Rolls-Royce put in any power to this vehicle or made it so that it would be a drive of ease. That is something that is part of their ecosystem. It's part of their ideology to be able to do that, to be able to have that silent, powerful drive. This is wholly and truly the idea of having an experience and having a moment in time that really exemplified that experience. Maybe you might not be the person that has the opportunity to have the kind of funds to purchase a Rolls-Royce. I hope that this moment would give you a chance to be motivated to look to that next level. Or maybe you just have one friend that's one of those 1 of 20. I hope you guys like the news for today. Please leave a comments of any other information you'd like to see in the future. So keep your eyes out for more news and information in the future. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget the bell icon. We're going to be back in the future for the news. Again, this is Primo. I am signing off, and as always, don't forget to drive.